guys, we got more information about Nancy Grace. You guys have to watch this video. In this video, they are putting so much together. They're putting that woman that was in Mississippi that's telling us about her family and how they do things that are kind of, racy, which is very important because she has more insight about Ocean Springs and how it goes down in Ocean Springs. Nancy Grace is in this video. Brandon Tatum is in this video. Warren, some of the friends recently, if you guys did not know, now Warren is crying on video, allegedly. But watch this video. I think it has a lot of great information. I want you guys to comment. Let me know your thoughts. Right now, I've started to do reaction videos. Press 2 if you like me doing reaction videos, okay? So let's watch it. Let's see what's going on.
We want justice in this case. We don't want secret grand jury proceedings. We don't want secret medical examiner reports. We want all threats investigated. We want the truth behind that audio. I want to know. And I want everybody on that boat polygraphed. We want answers.
I didn't come down here to do anything other than to get the truth. Did you kill Nolan? Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death? Did you delete anything out of Nolan's phone?
If this were your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened?
Detail assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
Oh, how far is it coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
What did we just hear? What was that? One more time, please.
Detail assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
Oh, how far is it coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
One of the biggest questions in Nolan's case has always been about his phone. If Nolan intended to return, why wasn't his phone with him? During this interview with Officer Tatum, one of the older friends offers an explanation. He claims Nolan had been drinking heavily and chose to leave his phone behind in the boot of their vehicle before walking away. That explanation immediately raises more questions than it answers. If Nolan knowingly left his phone behind, why would he do that? Was it really his decision, or was there more happening that night than we've been told? Listen carefully to how the question is asked, and just as importantly, how it's answered.
Drank too much and was super intoxicated. And, that's kind of what a lot of us thought, but they were kind of losing it and they were going crazy. And the mom that was with them demanded Nolan's phone because Nolan left the phone on the boat. And when we ran in, Nolan didn't ask for his phone and his keys were not on the boat because his car was parked at my buddy's house where we had all slept, the night before the 4th. And so the keys were left at the house because Nolan's car was at my buddy's house where we stayed at. So of course he left his keys there. But his phone, he was drinking. He didn't have his phone in the water because no one did. And there was more than just Nolan's phone that wasn't on the boat with us.
So it was more than just Nolan's phone that was on the boat.
Yeah, we obviously had all our phones, but on the boat. But those weren't the only people. Like Nolan wasn't the only person that left a phone on the boat. There was a lot of people that left phones on the boat, not that didn't ride out or in with us. So I mean, there was a couple phones that we had that we didn't know who they belonged to. And, my buddy's got that figured out, but, it wasn't just Nolan's phone that, was on the boat who wasn't there. There was a lot of phones.
So when they barged in, they started getting frantic. The mom asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
I mean, just handed it over. I mean, we didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No complications, no issue, nothing. But I mean, I told Miss Christine that we had his phone and he had left it in our possession on the boat.
When did you? Miss Christine is Nolan's mom.
Correct.
When did you talk to her about that?
When I was on, no, I didn't talk to her once. Like it was like 12:30. I mean, I might have texted her a couple times and talked briefly about a couple things, but I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone. Before I called Miss Christine, I was like, oh, well, where's his location at? Because Nolan had his Snapchat location on for me. And he said, it's Wyatt said it's, in my truck. Like, because everybody who left stuff on the boat, it was Wyatt's boat. So Wyatt put it in his truck, it was normal. And so the phone was in possession in Wyatt's truck. And when that mom came over and asked for it, there was no issue at all with us giving the phone to her. I mean, Nolan just left it on the boat. We handed the phone to her that night of the 4th of July. What would our concern be? Getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean, I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat, put it in Wyatt's truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
Before diving into the case update, one commentator broke format to share her own reaction, a white woman from the South who said her background gave her a particular vantage point on what she was seeing. Her take was personal, and it centered on one piece of evidence in particular, the CEDO call Nancy Grace had just released.
I just want to insert my opinion for like 2 seconds on the Nolan Wells case, because I just saw where Nancy Grace came out with the transcribed CETO call. And here's my thing. I'm from the South, so I feel like I can speak on this because I grew up around nothing but racist, okay? And so as someone with the skin, I feel like I could speak out on this. Here's my questions. Why... First of all, so many of y'all want to say that it wasn't murder. Like, so many of y'all were so quick to say it wasn't murder, that things happened. If that was the case, then why do none of the friends know what happened? Furthermore, Nancy Grace just released a CETO call. Anybody in their right mind, if you hear what was on that call in the background where they're asking, is someone dead? First things first, you're not going to call CETO. You're going to call 911, typically, if you're worried about someone. Secondly, why did you turn down Coast Guard when they asked if you needed the Coast Guard? If you are sinking, and if there is that shit going on in the background, like what they're asking about, is someone dead, you should say yes to any bit of help that you can get, right? I also think it's odd that all of them got rid of their social media. None of them have really had much of an explanation. They do what your typical white people do in those circumstances. Look at the Murdaugh case, and there was no one of color in that case. But because they were prominent Caucasians surrounding around that death of the girlfriend, they did everything they could to cover up and get him out of it. The same rules apply to this, and like in my head, the same rules apply to this. They were both situations were boating, and in those situations, someone unfortunately lost their life. But getting back to the Nolan case, hearing that voice, like hearing that recording of them asking for, or just asking if someone is dead in the background. How is it that you're clueless and you have no idea what could have happened to him? That call, like, there's a reason why Nancy Grace got her bob fixed to the heavens, honey. That thing wouldn't move in hurricane force winds. She knows something. Her gut tells her something, just like my gut has been telling me something has been going on with this case. It was too weird. It was too weird. And I got to be careful with how I say things, because y'all love to drag me through the mud anytime I talk out against Caucasians. So I'm trying to be careful with how I word this. But before I get in the shower, I've had a long day at work. Before I get in the shower, I really wanted to put a little bit of 2 cents in your head with that, because I commented on Nancy Grace's video and already people have started coming for me. And all I did was comment, why did we call CETO and not 911? And several people commented and said, well, because there was no medical emergency. You fucking racist idiot. What do you mean there's no medical emergency? Open your fucking ears. And do you not hear them in the background asking if someone is dead? Are you that small-minded that you will forgo any bit of the facts because you need your story to be the truth, where no one was murdered? If that was your youngin', if the roles were reversed, y'all, my God, as a white person, I can come out and say that. I know good and well if the roles were reversed, y'all would be dragging this through the mud. But because it was a group of Caucasians and it was an African-American person that passed away, all of you small-minded, closed, racist people, you immediately want to assume that he died of natural causes, or he caused his own death, or it wasn't a murder. I will always stand on the right side of history. I promise you. I don't care how many people cancel me, how many people come for me. My boys will know that their mother always stood on the right side of history. I have said that there was something fishy about this case from the moment it came out in the news. And as soon as I posted something about it, y'all came for me. And I'm just here to say that I stand with Nancy. There's a reason why Nancy is as into this as she was the Casey Anthony shit. Okay? She knows, because her spidey senses are tingling just like my spidey senses are tingling. If a youngin' ever went with me on a boat, it don't matter if they were black, white, brown, purple, green, blue, square, triangle, rectangle, obtuse, caboose, papatoose, you name it. That baby's coming home with me and my family. I don't care if anybody got in a fight or an altercation. If you go on the boat with me and my husband, I'm bringing you back. Scout's honor. Promise. There's something, you never leave anybody, anywhere, especially on water. Y'all can get the fuck out of here with your excuses. That's the thing about you racist people. Y'all will make an excuse out of anything to justify any type of actions. Every single time. There's always an excuse. Just as soon as something happens in the media when an African American or a brown skinned person is involved, you're quick to say, stupid is as stupid does, right? All those things. But you didn't say that about the young girl that died with the Murdochs on the boat. Everybody was boohooing in tears about her dying. It was so tragic, right? But we don't have that same sympathy for this poor youngin' who had his whole life ahead of him. It doesn't matter what the familial situations were, because I saw that being thrown around. That doesn't matter. He went out with a group of friends, amnesia, and nobody knows what happened to him and nobody can find him. Make that make sense. Those are the type of people that I don't want my children around.
The forensic autopsy reportedly found discoloration on the back of Nolan's neck. Officials aren't calling it much of anything, but Mathis called it bruising, consistent with a hand pressed against the back of someone's head. To him, that's the position you'd expect if someone were held underwater. He was careful to frame part of what followed as speculation, not fact, but he drew a pointed historical comparison anyway, to Emmett Till, the 14-year-old killed in Mississippi in 1955 after being accused of offending a white woman. Matthias's point wasn't that the cases are identical. It's that the underlying dynamic felt familiar to him. A young black man, a white woman, and a body that turned up dead. Here's what he had to say.
I don't want to waste no time. I want to get right into it. How you feel about this second autopsy that was done on Nolan Wells?
Yes, I think when we last spoke, we were awaiting the forensic autopsy because the original autopsy performed by the county examiner, we just weren't convinced it would be independent, quite frankly, because we weren't getting enough information from law enforcement. And so the forensic autopsy came back. And lo and behold, even though they're trying to downplay it, and I understand Ben Crump and NAACP and others don't want to try and jump to conclusion or step too far out, but the forensic autopsy showed that there was what they call discoloration. No, I call them bruises in the back of the head, appearing that someone has had their hand pressed at the back of their head, at the back of Nolan's head. That's concerning to me. And so hopefully we'll get some more insight on that. I'm not sure. It seems like there's another opportunity for them to investigate something physiological. I'm just not sure because as far as I knew, the forensic autopsy is as far as you go, but we'll see. But yeah, that's what causes new concern. And then you've had different stories coming out from the teenagers. One of the young men himself spoke out about it, claiming they had begged Nolan to get on the boat, and that he wouldn't. Then there's the woman that he's supposed to have stayed back with. I think her name Katie or something. Well, he was supposed to have stayed back with Katie. That was their story. However, Katie's friend says that Katie she saw him only in passing on the island, didn't stay with him, and Katie isn't saying anything at all. So it's a lot of moving parts here, and I'm just hoping it's not one of those, quite frankly, and if his friends didn't have anything to do with it and they truly left him behind, et cetera, he has discoloration, bruises on the back of his neck. Something happened. And quite frankly, this is Mississippi, where in 1955, which sparked the civil rights movement, Emmett Till was killed for so-called whistling at a white woman. And now we're hearing Nolan Wells stayed back to be with a white woman, and he turns up dead with bruises behind his neck. That's the context I'm putting this in.
A lot of people are pointing fingers at their friends. From your professional opinion, what makes them look guilty?
I wouldn't say it makes them look guilty, but it definitely makes them look suspicious. The friends did not act as friends normally do. First of all, if you leave your friend back, you're going to know exactly who they stayed with. And from the very beginning, it has been conflicting information. The young lady allegedly was named Katie, and she says allegedly that Nolan told her that he was going back with the friends he came with. And those friends are saying that he stayed back with Katie. So one of those two cannot be the truth. And what we do know is that Katie did not lawyer up initially. I don't think she still has lawyered up, but we were told that the so-called friends lawyered up initially. They deactivated their social media, maybe scrubbed some of their social media initially. That's very suspicious. Why would you do that if no foul play was expected or had occurred? Because people drown every year. And if you just a witness to someone drowning, there's no need to be so afraid or so fidgety.
Yeah. Now, a lot of things were going on as this unfolded, a lot of suspicious activity. And I'm going to kind of highlight a couple of them for you. The first was, his phone and keys were not on his person. How did you feel about that particular information when you got that?
That in of itself, the phone, if you're out boating and the water was so high, you normally would have your phone on a dry location. So you would have left it in the interior of the boat or something. But the suspicious thing would come when if he allegedly told them he was going to go stay on the island with a young lady, he would have retrieved his phone. You know for certain you don't have it on you.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the first things you're going to do.
I would think I would give you the phone. Hey, yo, here's your phone.
He would have voluntarily went and retrieved it, or his friends would have reminded him of taking it to him before they got on the boat and left the island. They would have seen it. And definitely if they just happened to forget to give it to him, as soon as they got back to land, they would have taken it to his mother or his father